Oh, this one's super easy. Red, you get the cross, the midsection in between. Okay, good start. About 10 minutes, give or take. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Hi, how are you? My name's Beta, and today, after about 3 to 4 hours of my life, or spending the better part of an evening, I have learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube for almost no reason whatsoever. I know, this is a weird jump, going from like furry meme review to furry meme review. Oh hey, Rubik's Cube solving video, interesting. Look, you can say what you want about it, but I feel accomplished, okay? At least let me have that. Because yes, I know that there are kids in like elementary school at the age of 7 who can solve one quicker than me. I went to school with a bunch of these kids when I was in like 2nd grade. And so here I am, give or take 2 decades later, finally learning how to solve one of these. I mean, this Rubik's Cube isn't really gonna help me later in life. Like, you know that meme about like the parent that's like, no, you're not gonna learn how to play guitar or learn jujitsu. You're gonna learn like interpretive dance, like theater. And then there's the meme of like later in life, if your house is broken into and someone's there and you gotta like defend yourself, you just break out into interpretive dance. With me, it's sort of the same thing with the Rubik's Cube, where I'd just be sitting there like finagling away with this Rubik's Cube, and then the burglar would be so distracted with my skills with this puzzle cube, or at least, you know, I could yeet this at them and use that as self-defense. I don't know. Look, the Rubik's Cube is just something fun that I wanted to pick up, or more so was recommended to pick up by some of my chat viewers, specifically pro gamer or programmer. I don't know which version of your name it is, but thank you for buying this for me, by the way, and thank you for suggesting for me to learn this. You have reinvigorated my life, and I'm very grateful for it. It was exactly what I needed. Thank you. I solved a Rubik's Cube, and I feel proud of myself, and I more or less want to let you guys know that, and show you the process of how I did learn. I know you're probably thinking, Beta, isn't it as easy as looking up a 10-minute video by JPerm that says how to solve a Rubik's Cube in 10 minutes? And you would be right with that assumption, but there was a bit of a process with how I got to that point. Nope, I just made it worse. I just made it worse. And from what I was told, it was quite entertaining for the people that watched me solve this while I was live on Twitch. With shameless self-promo, you can check out my Twitch linked in the description below if you want to be a part of these videos in the future. Or if you want to see them before I do anything on YouTube. Like how I'm learning how to draw furry art, I streamed that, so there's a chance that those streams will make it in some compilation thing here. That's when I looked it up and learned that the world record for solving a Rubik's Cube was 3.13 seconds. So even before I unboxed this Rubik's Cube, my confidence wasn't exactly that high. I was feeling a bit embarrassed. But what I will say is that learning about this whole community behind speed cubing or speed solving, I kind of like that, speed cubing, was really fascinating to me. It made me feel a bit more comfortable with trying this. And also, everyone in chat was so supportive of me learning how to solve one of these things. And if it weren't for them, I would have been spending more than the better part of an evening learning how to solve one of these, or even getting past the first step. But either way, I'm getting ahead of myself. How did the stream go? How did I learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube? Why did it take me 3 to 4 hours? And what is the process that I took going through it? Well, let's start from the beginning. I unboxed the Rubik's Cube on stream. GAN Cube, which apparently this is a really good speed cube, which I didn't learn about until I had unboxed the GAN Cube and people in chat were like, oh, is that a GAN Cube? I'm like, do I have something special here? Like, this is a puzzle box. I don't know anything about this besides that. But the whole process for me learning how to solve my first Rubik's Cube took about 4 hours. Okay, so how did this process of me learning how to solve a Rubik's Cube start? I think we were talking about something related to Neon Genesis Evangelion, then I was like, oh, Screaming Rubik's Cube, Ramiel, my favorite angel. So one of my viewers, known as Pro Gamer, suggested a specific Rubik's Cube that they put on my streamer wish list, and if I added it, they'd buy it from me on the condition that I learn how to solve one. You know, that's a pretty cool challenge. A viewer buys me a Rubik's Cube, I have to learn how to solve it. And let me tell you, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. As soon as I got to the video tutorial, I tried like screwing around, like learning it traditionally with this little pamphlet or rule book that I was given, which like, I get that it's helpful. I was just so dumb and didn't know how to read it or interpret it. I was genuinely struggling in that first hour. But that was also because I never fully applied myself to it and was just screwing around trying to figure it out for myself, which you can't really figure out a Rubik's Cube for yourself. It's all a process. And it's not even just one process, but multiple different processes processes that you can do. It was overwhelming at first, but eventually I took a step back and just learned it from the beginning, which is pretty much how I recommend it for everyone. You know, follow a video tutorial. You know what, fuck it, let's look up a tutorial and then go from there. So the unboxing was pretty straightforward, but I did realize it came with a bunch of other things, like these bees, which I don't know what they go to, but they look kind of cool, and this little baggie, which looked cool, which I think just barely fit the GAN cube itself. Oh, a cute little baggie for it. Oh, that's so precious. I don't care. And hey, a little instruction guide. Oh, ooh, oh my, oh god. Oh god, oh god, oh no! Oh, I thought this was gonna be easy. Oh no! I was not expecting a whole scientific thesis. Oh. So to actually start with the Rubik's Cube, the first 10 minutes or so was just me screwing around with it, seeing if I could do that little pattern effect thingy I remember doing in like 2nd grade. And after like 3 rotations, I had already fucked it up. I already forgot the movements that I made, so I'm like, okay, that was not it. But it does make a cool pattern. So after that 10 minutes of screwing around, I eventually felt more confident with the Rubik's Cube and finally assessed the instruction guide that came with the box. Now my goal with this was to follow the instructions and see if I could learn it just by reading the manual and use the YouTube tutorial as a last resort. Because, you know, I wanted to learn traditionally, give myself a bit more of a challenge. But let me just say, the instruction guide, I'm sure, is much clearer for others than it was me. Because that thing really did read like my dynamic systems final exam cheat sheet. I could not make a lick of sense of it. Like step 1 mentioned all this stuff about rotational orientations, prime numbers, algorithms, but for the sake of putting in some effort before going to the YouTube video, I read the instructions slowly. I went step by step, starting with the white cross technique. I thought I had done it after like 5 minutes, only to be told I didn't do it right. And this next 30 minutes of following the instructions by reading them did not go well at all, and I just was not getting it. I was reading over the instructions over and over again. I had my hand orientation the way they recommended it. I was learning the L prime, R prime, U prime. Oh, it's a whole method to learn it. I'm an idiot. I didn't even know what the directions were telling me to do. I thought it was just teaching me how to learn the cube, not solve it. Oh my god. What the fuck? I didn't even know that this was the strategy here. I hate this. And so after a few minutes of just trying to read these directions, I folded and went straight to the YouTube tutorial. How to Solve a Rubik's Cube in 10 Minutes by JPerm. That's the video that I went to learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube, and that is the one that taught me how to solve a Rubik's Cube. JPerm, you did an amazing job. I mean, I feel like the analytics on the video speak for itself. Like 60 million views on this. Yeah, I'd like to think that if it's being recommended at the top, that this is the go-to tutorial on how to solve a Rubik's Cube. So thank you for the help, JPerm. I appreciate it. Now, my plan with this was to watch the video as is at first, trying to take in everything I could before actually assessing the Rubik's Cube. Yeah, it wasn't the best idea. I was not gathering any of the information that was in front of me. And you know, I think the funniest part was me being frustrated about doing the white cross technique from the instruction guide. I followed the instructions. I did it 4 times. What do you want from me? And I fucked up the cross! Oh my god. And then when I watched the video, step 1 is to literally make the white cross, and I was so furious after this. My reaction on stream was priceless. Okay. God damn it! God damn it! This fucking cross! Every time! It just doesn't go away! But apparently the basic, or I guess starting technique for learning how to solve a Rubik's Cube is called the layer by layer technique, where you start from the bottom and then go upwards, which apparently there are so many other ways to solve a Rubik's Cube, and yeah, that overwhelmed me at first. Just a little bit.
So basically just do that until you solve the entire white cross.
It's that easy.
Colors on the side.
And this is where I learned that supposedly people can solve these fucking things in seconds. Now at this point, I was kind of demotivated with trying to learn this. I was thinking, you know, if people can do this so easily, what am I doing trying to learn this when it's going to take me hours? But then I took a step back to reflect, thinking, how did I get through all those engineering classes? You know, all those equations and calculations I had to make. And that's when I remembered, I didn't take it in all at once like I was trying to do earlier. I learned it step by step, starting from the very beginning, and repeating those steps that I learned until I have it down pat, and then I can add on to it from there. And so I implemented this strategy into the Rubik's Cube, and let me tell you, that's really all it took. Oh, that's an easy way of fixing it. Huh. Oh, the white cross first part is so easy. Once I finally got the first 2 steps easily, I achieved what I like to call the flow state. You know how after a while of working, you get like in the zone with what you're doing and everything just like happens naturally, like it's second nature for you to move on to the next step and just get it done as well as you can. It's the flow state, as I call it. I was able to make the cross on my own, then I was able to make the bottom portion with up, right, down, left. That was the first step, filling out the white bottom with like the cross in here, there. And I was able to do that. After that point, I had found the motivation and determination to get through this. I felt like I was Ultra Instinct for a second, but not really. Everything after that point came naturally. I learned new terminologies for rotational techniques used frequently when solving, like Erdl, up, right, down, left, technique that J. Perm recommended I use and keep using until I'm able to master it. Erdl! That's what we're calling this. This is how we're learning it together. Erdl! And that's another thing as well. Throughout the stream, I was saying things that just did not make sense. Like, oh, this thing goes here. I moved left here. When I didn't move left at all, I moved right. So what I need to do is take parts that aren't yellow here. So I did that into originally this layer, this middle layer right here. Which was originally like you think up, you align it like that, with the middle piece so that it works. And then you flip it with a non-yellow piece. The same thing on the left. But even though it didn't make sense to onlookers, and most people were really confused with what I was doing, my terminologies made sense to me, and that's just how I learned it. I was remembering the exact set of rotations that I needed to solve the next step, and to get to the second layer of solving the cube. I'd just say a random thing and Shao would be like, what the hell did you just mean? What did you just say? I'm like, I don't know! This is just quick right croissant, and then eventually it got into some fancy stuff like up, right, down, right, up, left, left, down, in order to get the sides all lined up. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. And then he had to make like a yellow cross on the top, which was really hard and bizarre for me to remember.
Then
I did it. And then there was this final technique of being able to match up the corners opposite from the white side of like right up, right down, left down. And it was, I always screwed things up at this point. But even after screwing up the cube, I did not let that deter me. I kept pushing forward. This is kind of fucking wacky. How did this happen? And after 3 hours, I finally solved the Rubik's Cube. And I had finally had a flat, completely solved cube. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's go. I solved my first Rubik's Cube. Well, I followed the tutorial. Let's go. Oh, I finally did it! And after that point, I kind of wanted to learn how to solve it by just memorizing the steps and not having to assess the tutorial, so I spent a good hour plus after that just figuring it out. And much sooner than I thought, I finally got to the point of being able to solve it all on my own. And saying I was proud of myself was an absolute understatement. I'm still proud of myself now. Don't let other people determine you wanting to achieve something, even if it is something like a Rubik's Cube. I know some people are gonna give me shit for being like, you only waited till now to learn how to solve a children's toy puzzle in like your mid-20s, really? There's no age where it's too late to do it. If you're still alive and kicking, you can do it at any point. I could have waited till double my age to learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube, but it ultimately comes down to your own determination with wanting to do it. I know this is turning into like a motivational segment video, but it's definitely something that I needed to believe in myself for in order to do. It's your work and effort and journey and your book on where you're going from point A to point B. And trust me, the more time you put into it, the better you'll get at it. And honestly, I think that was the most fun I've had on stream in a long while, of just trying to learn something new and dedicating my time and energy to it. And since then, I've been on this weird kick of wanting to learn new things, and I've been learning how to draw furry art, or just learning how to get better at drawing for like a week plus now. So there's a couple of things to be said about this whole process of learning how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And this doesn't only apply to solving a Rubik's Cube, because maybe you saw this video and want to learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube, or it motivated you to pick up some other new hobby, or to challenge yourself to learn some new other thing to achieve something. Which, one, I appreciate that this video is some motivating factor for you in the long run, and two, I think you should absolutely do that. So the first thing, obviously, to take in mind when you're learning a new thing, you probably already know this, but the analogy is on how to eat an elephant. You eat it one piece at a time. Not realistically, but an analogy for it. You eat an elephant, you learn this new big task, task one step at a time. Learn that first step and then build upon it. It may take more time to learn it. I feel like I took a lot longer to actually learn a lot of these steps, but I just kept repeating them and I kept doing the one white cross technique over and over again till I eventually nailed it. Like even after I finished the first step, I was like, okay, do I know how to do this white cross? Can I do it without the tutorial? No, we're gonna keep doing it over and over again until I'm confident enough with doing it on my own. And then I went on to the second step, trying to fill in the whole white bottom. Like it took a bit of work and to add on to that, but I just stayed dedicated to it. And not every hobby obviously is gonna take like 3 to 4 hours to be able to accomplish either. So you gotta keep that in mind within perspective. And the other thing, of course, is, don't give up. If you're learning new things, then just do it. I think a lot of what we need nowadays, like from our friends, is to like motivate one another to do a new thing. Like if you have a friend who's like, oh, I really want to learn how to draw, tell them to do it and keep telling them to do it. Give them like positive reinforcement and encouragement for learning a new thing. Obviously, if the new thing is good, not hurtful or anything, but you know what I mean. And here, I'll even do it for you guys. Here. I believe in you. You can do it. And the most important thing, it's never too late to learn something new. Like I know I've been giving myself shit for being like, oh, I'm in my mid-20s. I'm learning how to solve a Rubik's Cube for the first time. Gee, what an accomplishment. Realistically, everyone starts new things at different times. And if you're looking to try something new, it's never too late. I know for me, one of the big factors with getting over my anxiety with wanting to learn how to solve this Rubik's Cube was knowing that people who were quite literally half my age could solve it quicker than I could, or could solve it when I couldn't. I was worried I was going to get flamed and shamed as soon as I announced like, oh, I'm learning how to solve a Rubik's Cube, because I thought people are going to be mean to me. But you know what? I pushed through it and I felt very accomplished. And the big thing as well, which I feel like this applies mainly to furries here, like if you're looking to learn something new, I swear to God, furries are like the most supportive and positive reinforcement like people I've ever met. Like when I was learning how to solve this in stream, there were so many people who I didn't even know knew how to solve a Rubik's Cube, giving me like pieces of advice, or like acknowledging when I was making progress, being like, oh good, you made a good move there, Beta. Genuinely. And the final thing I feel like that applies to this, allow yourself to feel accomplished and proud of what you're able to achieve. This really isn't a big thing that's going to help me or change my life. Shouldn't really be celebrated. No, celebrate something. If you feel good and accomplished about it, allow yourself to feel good and accomplished about it. Solving something as minuscule as this, as much as it might seem, might be a big thing to you if you were never really able to. And to me, it was. I always saw it and I'm like, I could never solve one of these things. And then I did it. And I can't tell you how proud of myself I felt. That's pretty much the lesson behind this. Like even the other day when I was testing how fast I could solve this, I got it in like 4 minutes, 30 seconds, which is crazy knowing it took 3 to 4 hours to learn how to solve it. And now my new PB that I'm hoping to go for is sub 4 minutes. And I know the more I practice, the better I'm going to get at it. And so hopefully this story helps you in some way, shape, or form if you're looking to learn something new. That wasn't really the intention for this video, but hey, it turned into it in the long run. But overall, that's my journey with learning how to solve a Rubik's Cube for almost no reason whatsoever. I learned something new, so it wasn't entirely no reason. And on that note, thank you all for watching. If this helped you motivationally for trying anything new, I'm glad to hear. I did take this sort of opportunity to learn something new and took that drive with it and molded it into something else that I'm trying to learn new, which is drawing art. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to let me know in the comments, especially this new format I've been trying. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. I also know this video will probably bomb. I do like fun, challenging new things, and I feel like this sort of reinvigorated my interest in puzzles recently. Don't ask me to solve a 4x4 Rubik's Cube though, because I'm not doing that. I am happy with the 3x3. I know there are many different sizes of Rubik's Cubes out there. It's not happening. I'm sorry. If you want me to try any other new things or want to see any other specific videos with this whole video format, then be sure to let me know. I do appreciate the feedback. If you want to support what I do more directly, be sure to check out the links in the description below to my other socials and other ways to support me, like Patreon and all that. I have been on more of a YouTube short TikTok sort of kick recently, so if you have any other ideas on what you want to see me cover in like a minute, then please do let me know. Other than that, I'm gonna go back to solving one of these again because it's kind of addicting, I won't lie. But yeah, that's about it for me. Have a wonderful night, guys, and I'll see you all later. Bye. Yeah, bye. Bye.